I went to an organizational meeting called Memphis Cares that was put on in the aftermath of the assassination of Dr. King. I heard this wonderful speaker, and she said, you know, this wasn't just a labor management fight that the sanitation workers were striking against that ultimately led to the assassination of Dr. King. She said, this was race, and I didn't understand that. I really thought it was a labor management issue. So from there, I really started getting involved. I needed to know what I didn't know. And I subscribed to the Tri-State Defender and started listening to, going to different programs around town. And so I had to, as we say, woke. And then after I woke, we organized the panel.
When Dr. King was assassinated, it literally changed my life. It was time for me to get off the fence and to speak out. I was one of the founding members of the panel, and I just felt like it was a way to speak out, to make a difference, to hopefully bring some healing together between the races and the religions.
Well, a friend of mine was a member of the panel, and she invited me to join. And so I went and I joined. I liked what they were doing, and I wanted to be a part of it.
And I was working in Republican headquarters. I heard Jassy Wurzburg talking to Mayola Killebrew, and Jassy was explaining about the panel to her. I was listening in, I said, hey, I'd like to be part of that. Somebody needs to speak out.
The panel of American women was a non-threatening, but yet very effective, mild introduction into human relations. And at any one time, we were a panel of 4 women who went to civic clubs and classrooms and colleges.
We had about 40 panel members. We had an African American, a Catholic, a Jewish person, and a white Protestant. And so they all came from different places in their understanding.
We had black Catholics, and we had black Protestants, and we had black Hindus. So it was really just a myriad of experiences you could get and you could share.
I was the WASP. I was the apologist. I was the one that said, we're the people that maintain this unfair and unjust system.
The panel spoke over a 10-year period, many hundreds of times, to probably tens and tens of thousands of people in eastern Arkansas, North Mississippi, and West Tennessee.
Well, I think as a part of the panel, we changed a lot of folks' attitudes by speaking about our own, prejudices and our own misconceptions about race or religion. And it was good for people to hear that. Nobody was speaking about that.
Happy secured an invitation by the Shelby County Council of Civic Clubs, which turned out to be the White Citizens Council.
Well, when they saw the name Panel of American Women, they thought, woo, wonderful. They thought we were very conservative right wing.
And when we walked in the door with Modine, and here is an African American sitting on this panel, and we're all talking about what it feels like to be Jewish and black and Catholic and being discriminated against,
You could just see people's jaws drop, and they were not happy with us. And Modine is such a pistol. She got in a heated match after the program with one of these white supremacist people. So finally, the band, Fred Wimmer, went up and just dragged her away because we were afraid something would happen, and we got out of there fast.
I got a Minuteman postcard where they have a gun sight saying, you're in our sights. And I got my children's itinerary sent to me in the mail, which was frightening. We got a private line because the phone calls were so vitriolically mean. Happy was out of town. And she got back in. I said, girl, you are now the leader of this thing. They can't find a Happy Jones in the phone book. My name is too visible. She said, sure. So she took it over, and she was great, of course, as always.
My experience with the panel brought me to a much better understanding of human relations.
I have learned that you just have to be who you are and say what is the truth for you. And you don't judge anybody else, but you just put it out there.
I've decided if you live long enough, people who didn't like it for stuff back there come around to it and it's okay. And then even getting an honor like this is such a thrill for us.
It was like we'd come a long way because there certainly was a time when nobody would honor what we were talking about.
Oh, it makes me feel good. I'm just honored. I never had any idea that it was going to come to this. And this is truly a great honor to be honored by Planned Parenthood.
This was from my original panel speech and the ending of it, which was this. You probably have heard of Rip Van Winkle and know his story. Rip Van Winkle slept through the American Revolution. When he awoke, there were no longer pictures of the king, but of George Washington. And so I want to ask you today, are you awake and engaged, or are you still sleeping through this new revolution?